Hello there, reason people, PoohBear here and welcome to my channel. Yesterday I released a video what to do with CV to players without ghost notes, and it was using the dual CV source to achieve that, and someone made a little comment of, oh, it's a little bit expensive just to resolve that one particular issue. Well, of course, if you already got that device, then you're making more use out of that device, and I totally get what they were saying. So I thought what I'd actually go and do is really go and have a look and say, right, let's see what have I got in the way of my free devices. And here's a nice big list of free devices I've got. I've got them actually in a favorites folder of all my different free devices. And I thought, right, let's have a look through these and see what I can do. I'm going to show you a very, very quick, simple solution. And then I'm going to show you another more complicated one. And I'll admit, the more complicated one was actually the one I started on, and then I happened to be out walking my dogs and I suddenly remembered, oh, about this other device. So let's first of all just recap of the issue, what we're talking about. So if I was to take this gate data, this is going to be some gate data. I know it's only a knob, but I'm just using it for this purpose, test purpose, and that's going to be some note. I'm going to turn my gate up, and as you can see, we've now got ourselves a signal. And when I change my notes, you can see we've got all these ghost notes and it's playing them all. And in fact, as I say, if I put this onto a sound which has got, like, say, loads of sustain on it, it's going to sound really horrible. Let's just quickly switch that back to a piano. And that's what we wanted to resolve, that we don't have to, when we change our note, it's actually going to re-trigger, basically. That's what we're doing. But the one of the rules is, I say one of the rules, what came to me was as a request is the gate is going to be held open, so they're not opening and closing the gate because they're doing other things. So the device I remembered while I was out walking was a good old Hamu device, and it's this one here called the Mingler. I've used this in the past. It's a really handy little device. And what I was using it for in the past is I had two random CV streams to do with notes, and this one will detect which is the latest stream and it will select it for you. What you can do with it though is I'm now going to take, this is my gate data, so I'm going to put my gate into my gate, I'm going to put my note into my note, and then obviously I'm going to take my note and put that into my note, and my gate goes into my gate. Nice and straightforward, real straightforward setup. Now, if I was to turn my gate up and to change my notes, it's going to sound exactly the same with all our ghost notes. What this device has, as you can see, it's got gate to other, gates ignore, and we've got this re-trigger. So if I now turn on re-trigger, I'm going to turn my note up. So here's my note, and now it's playing exactly what we want. So again, if I was to come here and put it onto that big horrible sound, and of course the reason it might be sounding so quiet at this stage is because obviously the attack is just too slow. But the point is we've resolved that issue. Now, one little gotcha about this device, and it shouldn't really matter because most gate data is a hard going from a 0 to a voltage, and then it's straight back down to 0. If you've got any kind of slope on it, which you shouldn't do, and I have noticed actually with some of, I think it's rack extensions made with the IDT, that itself I've noticed has this little glitch on it. When you're playing with the gate data, the gate's re-triggering, and it would do it on this device as well. So if we were to turn this gate up now, you can hear, and now listen to it, it's re-triggering. If we go back onto that piano sound, it might sort of highlight itself a bit more. So that's just a little gotcha to bear in mind what could happen if you're not controlling your gate properly. So that's that basic solution, and hopefully that would work for that person, what they was after. Now, I will admit, the solution I started off down the path of was to do with this CV pulse holder. It's a device I haven't really played with. I remember it came down as a freebie, because it's a freebie, and by the way, that Mingler is a freebie as well. And I had a little play with it, and I must admit, because it had this word pulse in it, and what happens is if you can fire a CV signal into it, and it would turn it on. You fire another CV signal into it, it turns it off. I kind of was looking at it, I was thinking, I can sort of do some of this with a simple LFO square or something. But I sort of parked it to one side, and I thought, well, earlier today I thought, right, I will have a look at this because this could be useful for this solution. So what I first of all have learned is 0 and below voltage, so any negative voltage or 0 does not activate it. It does not sense it at all. So it has to be above 0 volts to turn this on or off. And it doesn't matter if you pump into like 10 volts into it, it will turn it on. And if you pump in 11 volts, it will turn it off. So it's just different voltages will turn it on and off. So effectively that means if I push this node into there, and as I'm turning this knob on, this will be flickering on and off and on and off and on and off really quickly. Now, obviously for our solution, we want to be able to say, well, let's change a note. We want this obviously to come on, or should I say we want this to come on down here, and we're going to send out a value, which happens to be, and there's a value is between 0 and 1 volt. So we can send out a whole volt, which we could put into a spider and turn it into a negative -1, because that's what we wanted to redo our gate. And we can merge that with the existing gate. But then we got to say to ourselves, well, now we've got to re-trigger it and turn it off just by using that one note. And the solution I came up with was very straightforward. Now the wiring on the back, it looks very confusing, but it is actually quite straightforward. So what we've got going on is we have our note data. So this is our note data. I actually happen to have it coming over here and it's splitting, and I'm taking 2 feeds from it. One feed is going directly into this merge, and the other feed is actually going into this splitter. Then all I do with this splitter is I'm looping back to itself, and I'm taking that feed and putting it into the merge, and that merge is going to the note. So let's forget about all the rest of the wiring for the moment and just think about what that means is going to happen. It means if I choose a new note or a new voltage, forget the word note, let's say I go to a totally different voltage, it's going to come in here, one is going to go straight to this merge, and it's going to send out its answer and say, hey, I've changed, and it's going to go, great, I'm going to turn myself on. The other part of the signal is gone into this splitter. And if you remember, I did a video about CV latency. I've now just caused myself my buffer delay, effectively, and then I'm going to forward on that piece of the signal. And when it's received that piece of the signal and it's merged them together, it's now different from the original piece of signal. So it's now going to turn itself back off. So with one bit of data, we've effectively turned itself on very quickly through this loop. We've now changed the value of that data and it will turn itself back off again. And then we just simply take the output, which is going into this splitter, we'll invert it. From that inversion, we're going into this merge, and that's other port there is from our other gate or our original gate. And then that goes off to a gate. And this one here, which is our original note signal, that can go off and obviously plug into our note. So we can quite simply prove this works. I don't think I can fit everything on the screen at the same time. In fact, let me quickly just grab this and push this up here. Then that way we can fit everything on the screen at the same time. Let's just turn this gate off for the moment. So gate on, so there's our gate on. Now, a couple of things, and as you can see, we've actually lost our note for the simple reason, I bet you if I come over here, there we go, that's actually inverted itself. Every now and then, I find this does go out of sequence. It could be just it's a timing issue, and maybe I need a bit more delay on my timing to keep it a bit more in sync. I don't know. What I do know is if you're actually using sort of a proper input rather than using like this, I'm using this knob, and obviously this knob is doing voltages in between notes and everything. So if I was to turn this note up, or this knob up, I might play the same note, even though, so there you go, I'm playing the same note on 60 and 61, because of this isn't a note value, it's a voltage value, which happens, we have to be translating into a note later on. So there's that little kind of funny. and I say every now and then it will turn itself off, and I think that's a timing issue. But you never know. As I say, you've got this solution which works really, really well. Okay, it has its little gate glitch. This is something slightly different. It does have its own little glitch. As I say, it could be just a simple timing issue. We could change, and that might sort that out. But it's more important, from my perspective. I say I haven't really used this device, and I can see, yeah, I could see this device actually coming in handy because of the way it's sensing the CV and what we can do with it. Anyway, a bit much of a waffle now, so it's just left for me to say thank you for watching and bye for now.